name is Maya, and this is a recommendations video of 7 YA novels to bring you the spring, the sunny days, the joy and hope. While I was compiling this list, I was really searching for books to kind of be happy and have some joyful themes and just be heartwarming, because we all need this, what with the seasonal changes and just the general stress of life. Without further ado, let's dive into the books. Book number 1 I want to recommend. These books are in no particular order, but number 1 is really short and really sweet and fluffy, and it's a graphic novel, so you will probably be able to read it pretty fast, and it will cheer you up pretty fast as well. And you've probably heard it, it's a very popular graphic novel at the moment, and yes, it's The Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. Now, this graphic novel is about Nick and Charlie, 2 teenage boys. We follow them around as they are navigating their relationship and just getting to terms with their sexuality and just their friends knowing about them and stuff like that. So it's pretty down to earth, nothing much happens. It's pretty fast paced, but it still gives you time to kind of settle in between the characters and just follow them around, and in the end they kind of feel like your friends. So I think this is a great book if you need a cheering up and if you just want to read about fluffy, cozy love feelings of, you know, when you're in high school and everything is overly dramatic, but not really. The reason I'm recommending this because this book cheered me up, so I think it can do the same for you. And it's also kind of springy, like it's got that spring feeling, so I think it's a great read for spring and just to lift your spirits as the spring comes. The second book I think is perfect for springtime is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. This book follows a high school girl who just finished high school and is preparing to go to university. Her name is Marin, and she lost her only family, her grandfather. So we are seeing 2 timelines. One is in the summer before her grandfather's death, when she still had a good relationship with her best friend Mabel, and the second timeline is after her grandfather's death, when she moved all the way from California to New York to go to university, and it's already Christmas and she's alone. We are following the summer timeline and December, when her estranged best friend Mabel decides to visit her after many months. This book doesn't really put that much pressure onto the plot, but more on the inner thoughts and feelings of Marin, and I think this book in one word would have to be called bittersweet, but it does offer hope in the end. Now, if you are looking for a companion, someone to get you in a book, I think We Are Okay by Nina LaCour is a great choice, because some of the descriptions in there and some of the thoughts of this girl are so relatable. They're all about depression, grief, loss, loneliness. If you're struggling to get out of bed sometimes or just don't see the end of this darkness, I think this book depicts beautifully how we feel sometimes, and it also offers this final message that even the dark times pass, because nothing lasts forever. I've just read this book recently and I think it was the right time to read this book. I recommend to you that you also try this book out if you're feeling really lonely and kind of need someone to get you, but don't want to burden other people around you, so you just need a companion. I think this book is a great choice for a companion and a great choice for March/April reading TBR thing. The next book is a really engaging YA contemporary romance queer novel that I think offers the perfect balance between angst and fluff. So if you need a distraction, if you want to escape your own problems for a while and kind of engage in someone else's, I think this book is great for you. And it's Autobiography by Christina Lauren. In this book we are following a high school student, Tanner, whose family moved from California to Utah, where people aren't as open. So he's bisexual, but he decides to go back into the closet and hide that fact just until a few months passes and he finishes his senior year of high school, then he plans to go back to California or just move away to college. But things get super complicated when he meets Sebastian, this cute guy he falls for immediately. And this guy, first of all, is his mentor in this seminar class that he's taking at his high school, and second of all is Mormon. Now, this book, I think, discusses religion beautifully, also the sexual identity, falling in love, and family dynamics. So this book, in one word, is not just romance. It definitely offers a wide array of problems and subjects that it deals with, and Tanner is a great character to follow around. His love interest Sebastian also has a great personality. Other characters are also very memorable. So this book does not suffer from the syndrome of, having one good character and everyone else kind of fading into the background, because here, even after years after I've read this book, I still remember all the characters. And this is the type of book that is so engaging that I want to reread it, and I know I would love it just the same as the first time around, because it's just so beautifully written, and the pacing balances this angst/fluff in just the right amount that is very interesting, yet still slow enough that you can take your time and meet the characters and really fall in love with all of the characters, and just don't wanna finish this book, which I didn't wanna. I was just looking at the percentage that I read and I was like, no, let's not get to the end because I want to read this book forever. If you're feeling kind of slumpy and don't feel like reading at all, this book is perfect because it's so engaging, and trust me, you will read it in one sitting. I read it in one sitting and I do not regret anything. So I highly recommend. It's Autobiography by Christina Lauren. I highly recommend it. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. The next book on my list is the book that I just keep thinking about years after I read it. I randomly remember this book, and it's because it's not about the ending. This book is not about the ending, rather it's about the journey of how we get there. As cheesy as that sounds, it's really about the whole reading experience, not how everything will end, because it doesn't really end. It also discusses mental illness in the real, raw, relatable way. And this book I'm talking about is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. This book has been really huge a few years back as it came out, and I read it immediately and I just did not know what to think about it. I hated it and loved it at the same time. I gave it 5 stars, and then I gave it 3 stars, and then I gave it 4 stars, and I don't know where my Goodreads rating is right now. This book haunts me till this day, and I need to reread it someday just to get my thoughts straight. So The Turtles All the Way Down is about a high school student, Ava Holmes, and her relationship with her friends and her mental illness, and how the two collide and kind of get in the way of each other. This book does not hold back when it describes Ava's thoughts and feelings with regards to her friends and to her mental illness. I think it's really real and really relatable, and you can really get into the mind of a person with a mental illness. So if you are suffering from a mental illness, or if you just want to know how it feels, I think this book really puts you into Ava's shoes. And for me, I really felt like I was there. Sometimes I really felt like I had these urges that she had, because the descriptions were so real. Sometimes I felt like I couldn't even breathe. I don't know if you've experienced reading a book and just being the character, becoming this character and feeling everything they feel. If they have a panic attack, I feel like I can't breathe and that I'm having this panic attack. If you're in a really bad place, maybe it's not the best idea to read this book. For me, that's why I don't know how to rate it, how to think about it, because it really put me in this spot of this anxiety. But if you are curious about that, about this mindset and the anxiety and the experiences of a mentally ill person, I think she has OCD. if you're curious to experience that or just need someone to understand, I think this book is a perfect friend. But as I said, once I finished the book, I was disappointed because it's not about the ending, because the ending is pretty unfinished, unended. As months and years passed, I realized this book is more about the journey and the relationships between the characters, not really the end goal, because there's really no end goal. This book is like real life, and in real life we don't have a conclusion, it's just life, you know. This is why I am so confused by this book, but I love it and hate it at the same time. So yeah, I will definitely reread it soon. I didn't feel like I was drowning while reading this book. Throughout the whole book, I felt there's this light at the end, and that not everything is lost. So this is why I am recommending you this book, because it might lift your spirits and it might not. It's a double-edged sword, so be careful. The next book on the list is one of my all-time favorite books. It's the book I have reread and I'm planning to reread many times in the future. And when talking about book companions that can help you through hard times and just offer you some kind of consolidation. What is English? This book, I think, is the perfect friend or choice to get you through some things you're going through, maybe some existential crisis. And I'm talking, yes, you've probably read it, maybe not, it's a pretty popular book, but I'm talking about Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of Universe by Benjamin Ali Science. In this beautifully written novel set in the 80s, we are following the first-person perspective of this teenage boy named Aristotle. The chapters are short, but they offer Aristotle's view of the world on different topics, seemingly random, but they all have this teenage angst in common. One of the main themes in this book is sexual identity and the friendship Aristotle has with this boy he meets one day, Dante. Therefore, the name Aristotle and Dante, the two main driving forces in this book. Their friendship is just amazing and it gives me so much hope every time I read it and reread this book. This is why I think this book is perfect for spring. It's also very positive, very bittersweet. It has so many sad times and cry-worthy times, but it also has nice and joyous times, and they are also cry-worthy, so you will be crying throughout this book. Sometimes from sadness, sometimes from happiness and positivity and hopefulness. And I think this is what every book should offer us, this type of feeling where you're sad and happy and just kind of at peace. Especially when you read this book, it's just like this beautiful feeling that you have to reread it right away because the characters are so beautiful. I consider this book my friend. I am giving this book the status of my friend. And if you have not read this book, out of all the books on this list, choose this one. Trust me, just choose this one. If you have too many emotions in your body and you cannot contain it all, this book will make you cry your heart out and just release the tension. You know, just relax, just be at peace, at least for a moment. The following book I read when I was at the beginning of university, and I finished it in one sitting. I was in my living room and I was crying so much, and my parents, they were already used to me like breaking down at fictional events, so they didn't really worry too much. But I remember being in the living room and just dying and thinking like, they don't know what I've just been through. They don't know, and I am dying. You know that feeling? And if you wanna know that feeling, you should read this book. It's Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. I was not on BookTube back then when it came out, so I don't know if it's popular or not. I don't know if you've read it or not, or if many people read it or not. I haven't yet met a person who read that book. I read it in one sitting and I loved it so much, and my soul shattered. Pieces of my soul just went with this book into deep space somewhere, and they're hanging out with these characters. This book, I think, is the only book where the ending could be considered kind of sad, but I still think that this book, the mood of this book is really heartwarming and positive overall. But this book is about Eleanor and Park. Obviously, they are teenagers in the 80s. Eleanor is overweight and has red hair and is really quirky, and that's why she's being bullied. And Park is the only Asian kid in his high school. That's why he's also the outsider. This book is about the two of them, how they meet and fall in love. This book is set in the 80s. It's not about just the romance, it's about the dysfunctional family of Eleanor's, the high school, and just the life in the 80s. I really liked the aesthetic, the 80s aesthetic, you know, the Walkman, the mixtapes, I really liked that, the comic books and the references. Out of all of the books in this list, kind of has a more serious tone and it's not necessarily happy. It's still heartwarming, but it also shows how life goes on. And sometimes we can't do anything about that. So if you're the type of person who deals with life by reading about life, I think this book is about you. If also you want something different, heartwarming but not necessarily happy, pick this book up. Don't get me started on the beautiful, stunning writing of Rainbow Rowell. And the last book on this list is also very bittersweet, which I think we can all say that the word of this video is bittersweet because all the books are bittersweet, but this one is also especially bittersweet. But this book is not about romance, it's about friendship and just the power of friendship versus your family and this pressure to be the best, especially in school. And yes, it's the second Alice Oseman book on this list, Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. So this book is about two young people, Frances and Aled, and how important it is to have a friend when everything else is falling apart. So one of the main topics this book discusses is the parental pressure to be the best in school and how much stress this causes and how it influences other aspects of your life. This book is about depression. I think it portrays depression really well, but in the end offers hope and undefeated friendship. I don't know how to explain this book in a more concrete way. I think it's best if you just go into this book without knowing too much and just let yourself be engulfed, with the characters and the plot. I think this book is great for you if you just need something fast-paced. Take one afternoon, sit with this book and just read it. It has about 400 pages, but I know for a fact that I read it in one sitting and that you will too, because it's really engaging, it's really interesting, it has beautiful characters, the writing is phenomenal. Just take the afternoon off, just enjoy the sunshine and enjoy the book, or maybe the rain, you know, whichever atmosphere you prefer, and make tea or whichever drink you prefer and just enjoy this book from start to finish. So yeah, if you're looking for great characters and an engaging plot, this book is definitely for you. And these have been my recommendations of 7 books to read this spring, to lift your spirits and to bring you joy. I hope at least one book will manage to cheer you up like it did for me. And of course, if you decide to read one of the books because I recommended it, please let me down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and have a great reading day, reading week, reading year. I wish you many 5-star reads and until the next one. Bye!